Hello and welcome to RECENTERED, our bi-weekly VR podcast which we record every 2 weeks on a Saturday, which is why we sat here once again on a Friday evening. I'm your host Rog, and with me, who shall we go to first this week? Lee, how are you, mate? What you been up to?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. Hope you're doing good too, and you, Gary. Yeah, I've been really enjoying some great VR games these past couple of weeks, which we are going to talk about later. And apart from that, I can't really remember anything else I've done. So, yeah, just some games that, we'll talk about. And I've actually carried on playing them because they were that good. But, yeah, we'll get into that later.
Cool. And Gary, what you been up to?
But not a lot, really. Same as Lee, I suppose. I mean, I did jump back into Propagation VR a little bit.
All right. Okay.
I think I'm very close to the end, but I've just not finished it yet, only because I know it's only sort of 2-3 hours long, but yeah, we've had some games to play, as Lee mentioned, so I've been spending a lot of time on them really these past couple of weeks. So yeah, not a lot really, a bit boring. What about you, Roger?
I had been meaning to jump back into Propagation, but yeah, like you say, there's been a few things to play, so it's sort of, everything else sort of overtook that. Aside from that, I've been playing the flat version of Grid Legends quite a bit.
Yeah, that was free, wasn't it?
It's
on PlayStation Plus.
It's included with PS Plus. Yeah, it looks so nice. So yeah, that's been my sort of podcast game of choice for these past couple of weeks. Aside from that, I caught up with an old friend last weekend who I've not seen in over a year. So he came through for the weekend, and we had a bizarre thing. We went into town, and there's kept noticing people dressed in steampunk outfits. What's going off here? And a few hours later, there's more and more people dressed in steampunk outfits, and apparently there was some sort of event going on. Which, okay, fine. And then we sat in one pub, and we hear these bells jingling. What is going on? Some Morris dancers turned up. So there was a bizarre convergence of steampunk enthusiasts, and Morris dancers. And I just hoped at some point in the evening there'd be this mass standoff between these two factions.
So you went straight over to the Morris dancers, did you?
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, aside from that, I found that for the past year or two, there's been a retro gaming shop literally 3 or 4 minutes walk away from me, which I didn't even know existed. I mean, possibly a good thing, because obviously not knowing it's there sort of saved me money. Yeah. But yeah, went down to there, had a look around. A place called Doorway to Darkness, and it's really good. Quite a small place, but it's having recently inherited a Dreamcast, it's I can see myself sort of wandering down there every so often to pick up a game I've never played before.
I think that is a brilliant name for a retro shop.
Yeah, it is.
Genius.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't believe it's literally a 3 or 4 minute walk away, and I didn't even know it was there. That's absolutely crazy. But anyway. Into the stuff we've been playing, and Lee, you've been playing pool.
I have. I got messaged by a game on Scorpio and asked me if I wanted to play some ForeVR Pool with him. This is the Steam version. I know they've done games like the darts, haven't they? And the one where you throw the beanbags, cornhole, is it called?
Yeah.
They do things like that on the Quest. So this is the first one they've actually put out on Steam VR, I believe. And yeah, he invited me to play that. So I went on his stream and had an hour and a half with him playing that. And I played Black Hole Pool before, and it's a bit confusing with that one, because I know the devs did Black Hole Pool, then they kind of cancelled that to do a game called Rack, which is basically Black Hole Pool, from what I could tell, and then they've since cancelled that and gone back to Black Hole Pool, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I jumped in that as well, just to compare. What I do kind of like some aspects of Black Hole Pool, how the balls look, how the physics are. I kind of prefer the physics more on that to the ForeVR Pool game, but the environments are very pretty on ForeVR Pool, and it is a good game to jump in and play together. Plus, there was a big screen on it next to where the pool table was, and he actually put his Twitch stream chat up there, so I could actually see that while we were playing as well. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I like that aspect. I used to play this pool game. It changed its name, Sports Bar VR. It's a Steam one, but I used to love that. When I first got VR, that was what I spent a lot. I think I've only probably got about 20, maybe 30 hours in it, but pretty much all of that is when I first got my Vive back in 2016, and it was I absolutely loved it. And that's the one thing I miss by having inside-out tracked controllers, because it's not as good. It's not as good playing pool in a slightly off-kilter way in order to get the controllers to always track and stuff like that. I like to play it in a more natural way. And with Steam VR tracking, you could do that. And that's the one thing, I think that's the one example where Inside Out just isn't quite sufficient for it.
It kind of misses you off sometimes when you try and do the shots. It kind of lets go of the pool cue when you're trying to do it.
Well, I guess the Quest Pro controllers would be pretty good for that, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's frustrating because I used to love it a lot, and when I sold my Index, I did actually jump into Sports Bar VR a few times since then, but it just wasn't the same. There wasn't hardly any people in there anymore either, so you can't get any matches and stuff.
Yeah, I think I put all of 20 to 30 minutes, never mind hours, into that. I think I went in there with Tim once when we had. I mean, that must have been back in the CV1 days, and but like you say, it was. I don't think there was anybody ever really in it apart,
Yeah, there was at the very beginning. I remember I did go in and get a few matches. And like I say, pretty much all of that 20, 30 hours that I put into it was right at the beginning. So I'm a big fan of pool games, but I just don't think the inside-out tracking is...
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not like unplayable or anything like that. And if you sort of do it in a slightly off-kilter way, then you can... have a great time in there, I'm sure, but it's just that's the only slight disappointment.
I mean, it is really weird because it does feel like you are playing pool. It's so strange. I mean, a couple of times I've tried to put my hand above the balls because I didn't want to catch them and knock them. I'm like, what am I doing? Because this is just stupid.
There's that famous clip in there on the net with Ronnie O'Sullivan trying to lean on the virtual pool table and basically falling flat on his face.
Yeah.
But, oh dear. But yeah, it's. Where's the snooker game, though? Where's the VR snooker game?
Yeah, we've been asking about that. But I mean, also been asking about, because I think they are trying to bring some sort of multiplayer element into it. In one of the environments, you've got like 3 tables. And I said it'd be great if you could have 6 players, for example, and you've got 2 on one table, 2 in the middle, and then you 2. And then you could swap around and chat to the others, or you can play against each other on the other tables. If they can work something like that out, I don't know how hard it would be to get all that working on a Quest 2 as such, or it seems to be probably quite intensive to get that running. But we've asked about snooker as well, but I'd like to have a go at that.
I think it's just because pool's more well-known worldwide, isn't it? Or more popular worldwide, I suppose. That's the thing. There's only certain countries that are really into snooker in a sort of a big way, but yeah.
Oh, well. So, shaven stuff, the next on the list. Gary, enlighten us on this.
Okay. So this is a game on the Quest 2, and my daughter actually drew my attention to this one. She saw this somewhere, it must be on YouTube, I would imagine. But anyway, so we got a key for this, and I thought I'm going to jump in as well. So my daughter went in; she's absolutely obsessed with this. So first of all, if you've got kids, this is one of those kind of job simulator kind of games, really. I mean, that's what it is, and kids absolutely love them. We all know that, and this is no different, but there's something here, and I enjoyed playing through Job Simulator in the same way that I actually really enjoyed this far more than I thought. Or when you look at the videos and the screenshots of it, you're basically just doing this. You're a hairdresser, but you've also like a tattooist as well, and general stylist, I suppose. Yeah. And I've got to be honest, I've never been drawn to the career of hairdressing in my life ever. I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do less for a living, but when you do it in VR, there's a lot of fun to be had with this. And it is really good, this. For what it is, you can just have a lot of fun because you've got a few different modes. You've got this one where you'll get a photo given to you by this person, and you have to style them in the way that the photo looks. And you've got all these weird, nonsensical things as well. You've got like these hair growth things. So if you shave too much off, you can just spray them, and then they start growing hair out.
Dude, I could do with that.
And then
do this like that in real life?
Well, yeah, I mean, that thought crosses your mind when you play it, because some of the stuff that you can do, You can you have to almost paint on a moustache to these people. You can colour all the hair. You've got all of these different clippers and tools and razors, scissors, and all of these things. But for what it is, this is a pretty basic job simulator type game, but really well done. It's nicely polished. I didn't have any bugs with it or anything like that. And I can actually really understand. I was like, when I first saw this and my daughter said she wanted to try it, I was like, okay, I'll pick it up, I'm sure, because it's almost like a mobile. My daughter plays these kinds of games on like a tablet. You get these free kind of hairdressing type games, and I thought it's going to be that, but there's something there that I liked it a lot more than I expected to anyway.
I mean, I've not played it, but I did look at a video for it, and my instant thought was, I imagine sort of younger kids would absolutely love this. Because it does seem it seemed very creative, shall we say, from what I saw.
Yeah. Well, you've got I mentioned one of the modes. You've also got the other mode is a tattoo parlor kind of mode, because you have all these stencils and you can do these tattoos as well. You can also dress them how you want, and then you've got a creative mode. So then you can basically just go completely mad and just generate all this odd stuff. So for what it is, it's only, I think it's £10.99 over here and $15 in the US, and for that price, I think it's pretty good value for kids and stuff. It's not something I'm going to obviously put too much time into, but it does it pretty well.
Yeah, nice. Well, I'm sure by the time you'd finish, there were hairstyles to save the world, shall we say?
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
there's an obscure one for people.
There's
listening.
An obscure. Yeah, we'll see about.
Okie dokie. Well, next up is Humanity. I've been playing this on PS VR2, and this one's come as quite a nice surprise. We did briefly mention this, I think, on the last one. I had played the demo before, which came out a few months back, and I wasn't that impressed when I first played it. I don't know if they've changed things around and sort of put more at the beginning in the way of tutorials. I really can't remember. But yeah. This has really surprised me. This one's by. I keep forgetting to do this, and we really should sort of try and pick our game up on this a bit more. Well, this one's developed by THA or THA. I don't know how you pronounce it. Maybe it's a good old Yorkshire THA. Published by Enhance, and if that name rings a bell, that's the publishers who behind Res Infinite and Tetris Effect. And basically, it's a puzzle game, which everybody and the dog is describing as sort of like Lemmings. And yes, from a certain point of view, in fact, you've got like a stream of characters, in this case, stream of people who come out of a portal, and you've got to guide them towards the exit. Unlike Lemmings, you don't directly control the individual people. What you've got is a little Shiba Inu dog, which you move around to put markers and waypoints and different abilities on the floor, which the people will walk over, and then that will cause them to either turn in one direction, make them jump, or any one of a number of other different things to get them to the exit. And that's basically it. There are some other larger people along the way, gold-coloured, called Goldies, which you can collect. And after you collect so many of those, it'll unlock different abilities, which are then you can use on all the stages of the game. One of the early useful ones, for example, is it unlocks the ability to restart a stage, but with all the icons, all the abilities you've laid out already in place from your previous attempt. So you can then go in and just retry the level, but then just tweak one or two things without having to lay out your whole path for your people to follow again, which makes replaying levels, just makes it so much easier when you can just tweak this or tweak that, rather than having to really put your mind to doing the whole level from scratch again. And it's just really good. I'm just really surprised. The only issue I have with it is I played it in VR for 30 minutes, and then I've been playing it on my TV ever since. VR adds nothing to this game. Literally adds nothing. I mean, yes, it's sort of in 3D and everything, but it's one of those games where sometimes you just want to sort of like pause even pausing the level. I think, does that come as an ability? I can't remember. You can actually pause it with a pause button, and then you also get an ability to hold down L2, which sort of just stops time. So I'm not entirely sure what the difference is there. but it's one of those things where you just want to pause the level, sit back, look at it, grab your cup of tea, and just think it over. And it's just having the headset on gets in the way. And like I say, playing it in VR literally adds zero to this game. I think it's a better game on the monitor, or on my TV rather. And that's where I've been playing it. And I've over these past few days, I keep dipping in every now and again for 10, 15 minutes, and just to do another level. Or suddenly, you suddenly think, oh, hang on a minute, random shower thought is like, I need to go and try that and load it back up again, and it's really good. It's 25 quid on Steam. It's 25 quid on PSVR and PSVR2. So yeah, original PSVR apparently, according to the store still. So who knows? But if you've got the PS Plus Extra or Premium tiers, it's included with that, so you can go and try it out for free. As I've got older, I've sort of moved away from pure sort of puzzle games. I like a puzzle game like, we're talking about it in a minute, like Red Matter, where there's a story and there's exploration, and the puzzles are part of an adventure, shall we say. But puzzle games for puzzle games' sake, I'm just not a fan of these days, really. But yeah, I'm surprised with this one. I've really been enjoying it. And I say, if you've got PS Plus Extra or Premium, go give it a try. It's it's really good. And if you're a puzzle game fan, I think it's easily worth your 25 quid anyway.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people talk about this over the past few weeks, because I think it's reviewed pretty well. As well.
It seems to be.
And on I think the PSVR subreddit as well, a lot of people were singing its praises on there. But like I say, sometimes, I suppose it's what kind of mood you're in as well. If you want to play it in VR, if it's got that option. But if it doesn't add anything, then you can, like say, just relax a little bit more, just playing it on TV. Yeah,
I would say maybe I was just, when I played the demo, I don't know whether I was just in the wrong mood at the time, or whether they have sort of tweaked it and made, give it a better sort of on-ramp, difficulty wise. But
it looks pretty basic in terms of like graphics and stuff like that, though. From the video and stuff, it doesn't look like it's doing anything special.
It's not going to blow your mind visually, but the thing with it is you get, I don't know how many characters end up on screen, but at points there must be hundreds, or I don't know if it must go into the thousands or not at some points, because even on the sort of earlier levels, it gets to a point where you've got a heck of a lot of characters on the screen. There's like 7, I can't remember what it refers to them as now, but basically sort of 7 worlds, shall we say, 7 main stages, plus the prologue, which is the prologue is just the tutorial. And then within each of those worlds, you've got, I don't know how many levels is, maybe 10 or so per thing. And I'm on the third world now at the moment. But you've got a straight path through what you can follow from one level to the next, and occasionally there's one or two branching levels what are sort of optional. But to do the final level on a world, you've got to save a certain number of the Goldie characters. So if you can't save them all on the straight path, you can sort of veer off onto one of the other trials and maybe pick up a couple of the Goldie ones on there to get your quota. But yeah, it's just. Yeah, really good. Give it a go. I'm proper enjoying it.
Nice.
So, what we got next? Yes. Walkabout Mini Golf. We'll just briefly go over this one.
Oh, briefly. I forgot. I actually played Walkabout Mini Golf with PD as well in the week. And
nice.
he actually recorded me getting a hole-in-one. And speaking of hole-in-one, Rog, would you like to talk about when we played Walkabout Mini Golf?
You've been daydreaming again. Walkabout Mini Golf. Been playing this on the PSVR2. I should say, I think pretty much for everything this week we have had review keys provided. Need to get better at bringing that up as well. Thanks to Mighty Coconut, to the developer and publisher of that one. But yeah, the news being it's out on PSVR2 and it's a very good port indeed. Native 90 FPS, 90 hertz. There's 3 different packages you can buy on the store for this. The base game with 8 courses at basically 12 quid or $15. There's the game with the Lost Cities DLCs, so some extra courses thrown in there for 20 quid or $25. Or there's the hole-in-one bundle, which includes absolutely everything so far for 29 quid or $35. Just ignore the lower ones. Buy the hole-in-one bundle. It's the cheapest way of doing it. Because if you buy one of the cheaper ones and then go, oh wow, this is brilliant, and it is brilliant, you'll end up buying the DLCs, and it's just going to end up costing you more anyway. So just buy the whole. If you're going to buy it, buy the whole in one bundle. Yeah, it's a great conversion. There's not a lot to complain about. Bizarrely, I didn't notice straight away, because when I first went into it, I went into the 20,000 Leagues course because it's probably one of my favourite ones, and it was amazing. And then, forgotten who it was. Somebody said on the Rendered Reality Discord, they said, "Oh, I can notice some persistence on it." And if you actually go into a level where it's really bright, or even on the sort of the menu, which is the front end menu area, and you look up at a palm tree and you sort of move about, I could see a definite, almost second image, and it wasn't reprojection.
No.
There was, because of the contrast, because maybe of the brightness between the sort of the tree and the sky, I could see definite persistence happening.
What brightness level do you have?
I've got it set whacked up to 100.
Oh yeah.
But look, I'm pointing it out, but it's honestly it has been really picky. It's there, but honestly, when you're playing the game, I just didn't notice. But when I looked at it in certain settings, I could see it. But regardless, yeah, it runs at 90. The draw distance, I think, for some like incidental sort of objects and detail on the courses has been pushed further out than it is on Quest, for example. And yeah, it runs great. So
I mean, we played this crossplay as well, right? Because I was on the Quest 2. Yeah. So I mean, this is like day of release, and it was just flawless. I couldn't tell any difference to you being on, PSVR2 or how we interacted with each other. It was fine.
Yeah, it worked brilliantly, which is what you want especially from a multiplayer game. You need that to work flawlessly, don't you?
You'd expect it though from these developers. I think they're sort of, they know what they're doing, don't they, in terms of that kind of stuff. What's the resolution like, Rog? Did you notice it like noticeably? Well, I assume it's a lot sharper than the Quest, but like on PC and stuff.
It is good, but there is something else we'll get to later, which destroys this and every other thing on PSVR resolution-wise.
Oh God, I'm going to be jealous on that.
but it's good. I didn't have any complaints. Maybe it could be a little bit. I'm being picky, and I've not played it enough. And I've not been. When I was playing it, I just didn't. There were no issues. There were no complaints. It's an absolute must-play game. If you've never played it before, you need to pick it up. As daft as it is, it's one of the best multiplayer games in VR. It really is.
It's really good on any headset, though. I mean, it looks fantastic in Quest 2. There's not much difference, apart from the odd sharpness on things and that, but I mean, I just play this on Quest 2 all the while because it's just easier, and it's just
I know,
fantastic.
That's the thing.
This is the only thing about it. If you've already got it on Quest 2, and if you've got a PSVR 2 as well, is it worth picking up again? Maybe not. I think the problem is, because it works that well on Quest 2, it's just easier to pick up my Quest 2, put it on, and launch the game, rather than having to boot up my console and then be tethered as well, which I don't generally find being a problem, but it's just nicer. The other thing as well is it's easier to hold. I find it easier to hold the Quest controllers, the touch controllers, than the PSVR ones, because when you're sort of putting, you sort of try, or I sort of hold, because you only use one controller, but my second hand sort of goes around the top of where my other hand is, and as if you're actually trying to hold a golf, a putter.
Yeah.
And because of the tracking rings on the PSVR 2, I didn't really find it a problem, but I've got large hands, so my fingers sort of got around that issue. But it just feels better holding the controller on the Quest. Although it's a non-issue. It's just, if you've got a Quest already and you've got Walkabout Mini Golf on Quest, there's no real reason to go and buy it.
I mean, I don't know if it's any easier to do hole-in-ones with the Quest controller or not. I don't know. Please tell me you've uploaded that chart of mine on that windmill thing, Raj, where I got the hole-in-one and you loved it.
He always loves it when you get a hole-in-one. How often does it happen, Lee?
Very, very rare, but when it does, it's fantastic.
I was going to say, though, with this type of game, when you're getting pretty much like 95% the experience on a Quest is what you would get on a PC or on a PSVR or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that for that difference, it's just like you say, it's just so much easier just to the Quest is lying there, you pick it up, pop it on, launch the game. It's just very easy to do. That's the thing. But that's not to say, once again, reading the PSVR subreddit, this one's gone down really, really well. This seems to be like one of the best rated from what I've been reading as well. So
if all you've got is a PS5 and a PSVR2, then definitely pick it up.
It's a no-brainer.
Yes, definitely.
It's an absolute no-brainer. But just do yourself a favour, buy the whole in one bundle and get all the courses, and you'll have a definite good. You'll definitely have a good time. It's really smart.
We're always on it, aren't we? Every week. I mean, we've mentioned it before several times, but it's definitely my favourite VR game. Well, close to some of the others I've played this week, but we'll get into that later.
Well, moving on from golf to fishing, we have another Fisherman's Tale by Inner Space VR and Vertigo Games. On this now, weirdly, in the States, this is basically $25 across the board. Over here in the UK, it's 22 quid on Steam. 20 quid on PSVR2 and 19 quid on Quest 2. So I don't know what's going off there. And I think for about probably another week or so after this podcast, the PSVR2 version is 20% off with PS Plus.
I think the Steam version did have a bit of a sale on, but I don't know if that's finished now.
I think it's finished.
It's finished, hasn't it?
Yeah. So I think it's just the PSVR2 version. And obviously Quest 2, go and find a 25% discount code. But yes. So another Fisherman's Tale. So Gary, why don't you kick this one off?
Yeah, so I think we all played through the original Fisherman's Tale. I played through it when it first came out, and although I've mentioned before, I can remember the fundamental mechanics of what you were doing in that. I can't actually remember a lot else about it, but I remember really enjoying it. I think it was one of the best little puzzle games, and it's not a very long game or anything like that, but it was just impressive. So you wonder what they're going to do on a sequel to that kind of game, and you wonder if they're going to keep with that mechanic of the original one where you're basically passing things from a model to a human-sized scale and they adjust scale in order for you to solve puzzles, or if they're going to go in a different direction, and they've gone in a completely different direction, but one which is, it takes a while for me to, it took a little while for me to warm to it, but this mechanic is based around you being one of the characters within the model, but you are this fisherman who is made up where you can throw your hands into the distance, you can launch your head off, and then you've got independent control over these things. So if you, for example, throw off your hand, you can then pull the trigger on the controller, move the controller in any direction, the hand will move along like Thing out the Addams Family. And you can collect things and then you can recall it back to you at will. So you use these mechanics and also actually when you throw your head into the distance, it just gets you a better angle on certain puzzles that you need to see. So all of these things sort of play a part in this, but you go through this game in a way where you've got these scenes where you're playing through a story that is being told to you that you are actually retelling to your daughter. And it's like all your adventures that you got up to when you were a fisherman, how you got stranded on an island and you were up against this pirate. And, the story progresses. You can't go too deeply on that because it will be obviously spoilers on it. But I think the fundamental thing that will first jump out at you when you play this game, or at least you've got a few levels into it, is just the ingenuity of the puzzles themselves. This developer, Inner Space VR, they've got an absolute talent for generating ideas for puzzles, which this is one of the most original ideas for a puzzle game. I don't think I've seen anything similar to this, really. I'm sure there's probably some examples out there, but they seem to come up with these really unique and original ideas for puzzles. And then not only that, they're not just unique ideas in the first place, but the actual level design of the puzzles that you're playing through, they're original as well, and they mix things up so much. We were talking a few weeks ago about Vertigo and how that had a lot of variety within that game, and this does too, really. I mean, in terms of the types of puzzles that you're doing, you'll have sort of replications of some puzzles as you go through this game, but of the fundamentals of what you're actually trying to achieve. But then there's a lot of things that are being mixed up. I played through this in about 3 hours according to Steam. And throughout that time, I was never not once bored or wanting to get through a scene or wanting it to end or anything like that. And although I think it's challenging, it's not the most challenging puzzler or anything, but it's enjoyable. I think that's the thing. And just being in these nice places. There's another puzzle game that we'll get to a bit later on, and it's sort of the opposite to that in some ways, because just being in these locations and environments in A Fisherman's Tale, it's a nice place to be in. And I think that is more important in VR than it is in flat games, because honestly, sometimes you do feel like you're actually, maybe not actually within these places, but you're surrounded by it and you are encompassed in these environments. And if you're in a nice location, it can make you feel better as you're playing through the game. And this just has nice locations, nice environments, and when it's matched up with just really original puzzles as well, I think it's just an absolutely fantastic game. I think this is, to me, it's a complete recommend. It's a must purchase as far as I'm concerned. We played through it on Steam, but the footage I'm showing here, we did get one quest key as well. So I went in, just recorded a bit of footage for the quest version of this game, and that's what I'm showing on the screen now. And it looks great in the quest as well. So if you pick it up on Steam or pick it up on Quest, either way, I think you're going to have a great time in this. And I would say, just to finish off my thoughts on it, I would say, because like Lee, you can speak to this actually next time, because you're not a huge fan of like puzzlers or anything like that.
No, definitely not.
And I think for this particular example, I would encourage people that even are not necessarily into that kind of game to maybe give this a try or look into it at least, because there's a lot more here, and we can talk about, you know, the story. Actually, just one final thing that I'll mention is I really don't like things that are overly sentimental or anything like that. I think it's because I've got a heart of stone. That's what it's got to be. But I don't like things that are overly sentimental. But there's games that walk that line just about right, and this is one of them. I think the story is really well done, and you know, it's using metaphors and things like that to tell this story. And by the end of it, you understand what's gone on. But I don't think it fell over the cliff of being too sentimental or anything like that. I think it walked the line really well, and I appreciated that, and I think the story's great too. So yeah, recommended for me.
Well, high praise indeed. Lee, agree or?
I 100% agree with everything Gary said. For me, it's the VR game of the year for me, easily. And I'm not a puzzle fan, as Gary touched on there. I get annoyed quickly with the puzzles, but this one, it was really, really well done, very fluid to work things out. When you start off, like Gary says, on a beach, and you've got to try and work your way to try and get out of the beach, get higher up. And then I was like, well, I'm not sure if I'm really liking this. I don't understand the hand thing. What I will say about the hands is sometimes it can be a little tricky to try and turn them. I don't know how you felt with that, Gary. When I'm using trigger, sometimes I'm like moving my real hands all over up and down, trying to get the right angle, because it kind of spins when you're trying to move the hand.
Yeah, just on that point, it does sort of spin, and I did find out I'd have to sort of completely go 360 into the opposite direction to get it into the right direction, yeah.
But it wasn't something that really bugged me, and after a while you do get used to it, and I was really impressed with that. I thought that was genius, the hand thing. Like I said, I was like, oh, I'm not going to get into this. Then you go off the first level, and you get, you know, pirates come, and then you're on the pirate, and then I thought, this is brilliant. This is so clever what you have to do in the levels. And as you're going through, you know, you're picking things up, it's telling the story. And yeah, the puzzles, I absolutely love the puzzles. They're not too hard where you think, oh, I'm going to be stuck here for ages trying to work this out. And it has got like a subtle hint system that you can turn on in the settings as well. That will, you'll hear a voice kind of say, oh, why don't you look over this area? Or I need this to carry on. And it was really clever how they did that. And it's also a game that I couldn't wait to play. I mean, we shared this on Steam, right? So I kept messaging you guys saying, are you playing it? Because I want to get back on it. Because I was that desperate to play it. And I think it's perhaps the only one that we've all played and all completed as well, because we wanted to get it finished.
Yeah.
But yeah, I absolutely loved it. I mean, I did play the Fisherman's Tale, the original one. It was on sale a couple of weeks back for like £3, and I played through that. And I thought that was genius as that. And I didn't think I'd like this one because of the hand mechanic. I didn't like the look of it, but it totally blew me away. And I was proved wrong on that, and I'm glad I was.
So two high recommends, but I think we now need to take a slight time out of our regular scheduled broadcast to advertise for 2 new co-hosts, because I think you're both absolutely insane. I wouldn't say I got bored of this, but I felt it did absolutely nothing for me. Absolutely nothing. I don't know whether it's because I'd seen too much about it before I started playing. And I know you two guys, you both played it before me, and you were absolutely hyping it up in the Discord. I just thought it was really average. I really did. The first game, when I played it back, I don't think I played the original when it first came out, but it was a couple of years ago now. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought this second one, I didn't think it was anywhere near as clever as the first. The first one, the way it played with scale was brilliant, and we'd not really had anything like that. This second one, although there is scale involved at times, the scale doesn't really play into the puzzles, or at least nowhere like it did in the original. And I just, the whole sentimental thing as well. That I have a problem with games where it's almost trying to too quickly make you invested and emotionally attached to a character and sort of have empathy with that character. And it reminded me of, there was an Oculus Dear Angelica, the Oculus Storage Studios thing. Yeah. It was out around the same time as when there was Henry and Lost, etc.
Yeah.
And that was the same. People raved over that. It was like a 5-minute story narrative sort of experience, sort of created in Quill, I think it was at the time, the art program. Yeah. And people raved about it and how emotional it made them. And it bored me senseless. It bored me to tears because it was just trying to it was like ramming it down my throat, like be empathized with this character. And it's like, it just doesn't work for me like that. And it kind of felt the same again with this. I mean, not to the same degree, but from the off, the character you play, that's sort of like the fisherman's daughter when she's in the basement, and she gets like an intercom call from a mother who's like obviously got some sort of dementia, and it was just, I don't know, I just couldn't get an attachment to the character at all, and Dude,
I'm really surprised. I thought you'd love this game, right? I thought we were going to hit that straight out of the park for a triple strike, and we're all going to love it. So I'm quite surprised you didn't like it.
Well, that's been episode 20 of Recentered anyway. Thank you for that.
Because I thought that was quite clever. How they did that. When you're on the boat and you have to pick, because you've got different attachments for your hands, you can pick claws up and hooks, and then you have to pick like the crane hands up, and your hands were actually the crane, and you were moving things about. I mean, that was quite cool. Did you not like things, like some of the aspects of it, or?
That were, I mean, they were fine. It was just, it's not a bad game. I'm not saying that, but I think maybe I'd seen too much hype around it. Because I know you two both enjoyed it, and I'd seen other people saying the same again, saying, oh, wow, this is amazing. I think Road to VR gave it like a 4.5 out of 5, and, everybody else has been going on about it, and I don't know, it really didn't hit with me at all. I wasn't bored playing it, but at the same time, I wasn't sort of really engaged with it either. I felt utterly neutral about the entire thing. A few annoying things as well. One of the puzzles, now I don't know how to. There's at one point, probably the first time, where you use your hand to have to go through quite a large, long machine. To get one. Yeah. Right, the one of it's got pistons going up and down in it, and just before you get to that, there's a sort of mini version of that, and I swear it bugged out on me because I was stuck in this very small area for a good 20 minutes, not knowing what to do. I could see a room I could throw my head into, and there was a reason I could throw my head in there. I could move my hand up some pipes into this other pipe, which led out back into the room where my body was, into this overhead sort of duct thing.
Yeah, I know which one you mean.
And there's a cog up there. Or there's supposed to be a cog up there, because for 20 minutes or more in that area, I was wandering what to do. Thought, well, I can tuck my hand into there, but there's no reason to, so I turned the game off. I went back into it later, looked straight up, and there's a cog in the vent.
Oh dear, yeah.
So I spent 20 minutes because of a bug.
Yeah,
so it really annoyed me. And all I did, right, even the puzzle, but I reached up, it let me grab the cog, I pulled the cog down, it clipped through and then hung on the bars of that grate of the actual vent, and I yanked it again and I pulled it straight through. So I bypassed the entire puzzle. So that was the bright side, so I didn't have to go back into that other, throw my head into the
puzzle after it, the big machine where you go through that you're just talking about. I did get stuck on that for quite a while. There's like a hatch, and I was chucking my hand in there. Obviously, you have to put maybe something else in there. I don't know. I don't want to give spoilers away. But yeah, that bit took me a while. I kept thinking, well, I don't understand what I'm supposed to be doing here. But
I don't think you're going to be stuck on anything for too long, though. It's not like
no.
I mean, fair enough. If it bugged out and that cog wasn't there, then you're screwed, really.
I mean, I swear it was there because I was looking up thinking, why is it let me take my hand all the way around up into this vent where there's nothing there?
Yeah, because you can see it in the vent. You can see it when you...
Yeah, it's blatant.
Yeah, it's there,
Yeah. But so I wasted at least a good 20 minutes. But when I reloaded the game back in, it put me back at the beginning of that level. And so it was only maybe 5 minutes or so, but I had to go through all the part of that level up to that point again. And this is another thing as well, the waypoints sometimes, it does have sort of intermediate waypoints in places, but sometimes you'll turn it off and you'll go back in and it's like, you've got to go through a section again just to get to the point where you were.
One of the things that I dislike about games, not just the way this saves, but the way other games save as well, is where it will tell you, are you sure you want to quit? Any unsafe progress won't carry you along, and you think, well, when was it last saved?
Yeah, exactly.
And like No Man's Sky will tell you, like it will give you a time when the last save took place. I don't know why they don't all do that, because that is frustrating. Because you think, well, when was it last saved? Was there a checkpoint or not? Yeah. I played through this in about, I think it was only like 2 sessions. It might have been 3. I'm not 100% sure, but I always got to a point where you are playing the daughter, so I knew that once you get to those sections, then it's going to save.
Yeah. Got to the next chapter or something like that, and you know it's going to be saved up to there.
Yeah, it's after that happened. I probably did it in 4 or 5 sessions because it just wasn't grabbing me. But I knew you'd both finished it. So
I think I was about 4 hours, but I just like chilled out and took the time through. I think my favourite. I mean, towards what I will say, when you get to a certain level later on, some of the game mechanics change a little bit. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give spoilers away. And I found that quite tricky. And I thought, has this changed from what I've been playing? I've really enjoyed it up to this point.
Yeah.
But I think, I know what you're getting at there. Yeah, I know what you're saying. And I think, to me, it's like, I understand. I think because I really enjoyed the puzzles anyway up to that point, but I think that what they were doing is they were conscious of not wanting to overplay that kind of that kind of mechanic all the way through the game, so they thought we'll stick in something extra. But didn't you like the ending, Rog? Like the very end, the final scene? Because the thing that got me as well is that it's difficult to describe this stuff, but it harks back to the first game a little bit as well. At the end, and I just because it also leaves itself open for a sequel to this as well.
I'm hoping they do something like a multiplayer version of this, and I was going to ask Rog to play this with me. Perhaps not, but I just love the look of it. The look of it as well. The graphics.
Sort of that sort of game. Was it that floaty flatmate style thing, or whatever it were called?
Yeah, the Salmon Dan or whatever it's called. Yeah.
It's just the problem is it didn't grab me. I wasn't bothered about the story. Some of the puzzles were good, and I did enjoy them. But I wasn't bothered about the story. I wasn't bothered about the character you were sort of playing, and and something that really annoyed me: the subtitles. Yeah.
Hello. Change scale.
No. The subtitles of "Can I please turn them off?"
You can't.
I don't want what looks like Comic Sans subtitles in my view all the time with no way to get rid of them. It's just ridiculous. So that annoyed me as well.
I don't know if you want to mute Rog or what, Gary. Should we take
that? There's got to be a way, hasn't there?
But
I have the power.
You don't like the storytelling. I thought the voice acting was superb as well. I mean, some of the games just recently we've tried.
Right, I'm right. sorry, Kraken. It's pronounced Kraken. It's always been pronounced. It's not, the Kraken. The Kraken this and the Kraken that. Oh, shut up. Oh, no. It's like, honestly, it really wound me up. It really wound me up.
But I mean, especially looked at all the basement part. You know where your levels, like I said, I don't want to give too much away, but it's all set around where the basement is, and you can see the models and things. I thought that was quite clever.
That as well. But I also liked it where you go into these models and you're sort of absorbed into this world but then you can see little silhouettes of the...
One of the first things you pick up in the basements, I was looking at examining it, I thought, there's a hinge on the back of that. I can't open it. I bet the final object's going to be in there, and yes, it was. It's just... I'll tell you something, the control scheme as well, it never clicked with me. I was still making mistakes with the control scheme at the end of the game, recalling my hand to me when I didn't mean to.
It is tricky towards the end.
I kept wanting to hit the grab button to grab things. And I'm conditioned to do that now. That's what you do in VR, you hold the grab button and you grab something. Whereas the hand, once it went over something you could get, it would sort of lock onto it, wouldn't it? And then you could just recall it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But the problem was, I'd go get near to something and then just instinctively press grab, and the hand would shoot back to me, and it's like, stop doing that. Stop doing that.
I did.
I couldn't get over it.
No, I did do that a few times, it just didn't bother me.
I think some of the later parts is mirrored as well. I don't know if you can back me up on this. So when you're moving forwards, it's moving backwards, and you're moving up, and in the actual things are moving down. So you got to try and work that out as well.
It's tricky, but that I mean, to me, that's the nature of the puzzle that you're trying to do. That's the
one with the hands. I quite actually like that. I thought it looked fantastic when I was trying to do that. The one with the large hands, if you know what I mean. But yeah,
no, but yeah, okay. Well, we've got two
three of us.
completely different views. So
look,
Lee, it's your game of the year so far.
Definitely, I loved it.
I absolutely loved it.
It's not a bad game, and I'm definitely not saying that. It's just, for me, it was just really, really average. And once I'd finished it, it was like, yeah, great. I can actually go into something I want to play now. It's horses for courses, isn't it? I think I'm definitely in a minority, judging by what other people have been saying on the net. So
I'm sure there's other people that agree. Actually, let's get some comments. Who agrees with Roger on this? Because I have heard other people mention actually that they didn't get on with it. Actually, on PSVR without parole, I think they only gave it like a 6.5. Was it 6?
I think they give it a 6 out of 10. Yeah.
So they didn't think. Well, I think they enjoyed it, but like you, probably really they had a few issues.
Yeah, I think probably the problem I had was I'd read too many good things about it, and maybe my expectations were through the roof. I don't know. Sometimes hearing bad things can be the better, can be a better thing, because then it's like, you sort of think, this is a lot better than everybody's saying it's.
See, this is why I mentioned it on Discord, because I was expecting to really hate this, and it's like, wow, I absolutely love it. So me and Gary were like messaging each other and saying how brilliant it was.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't say a lot. I just said it's very good at the one message, and then you said that you liked it, and then that sent us off. Then we just couldn't shut up about it.
So you see, it's all your fault.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's also what hyped it up, Gary. That's why.
Yeah.
That's it. But that's another fisherman's tale. Go and get other people's views on it as well, but I think I'm in the minority, so it might be one you do actually want to check out.
I don't think you need to bother with other people's reviews. Just go to me and Lee. I think we
looks like that.
Settled it. Definitive.
Oh dear.
Okay.
But yes. Anyway, more adventure-y puzzle games. We've got the PSVR2 version of Red Matter 2 by Vertical Robot. £25, $30, and I know you haven't played this version, have you, Gary? But you have.
No, but I want to.
Yeah, but I think Gary, you said this was your game of the year last year. I picked Moss 2 and you picked Red Matter 2, I think.
Yes, that's right. What I recall. That's true. Yeah, that's true.
This version is the definitive way to play it. There's no two ways about it. This is one of, if not the best looking games I've seen in a long time in a headset. It looks that good. It runs at a native 120 Hz with a proper 120 frames a second, no reprojection, and it looks fantastic. We've talked about Red Matter 2 before. I'm sure everybody knows what it is by now. But if you have got a PSVR2 and you've not played this before, then do yourself a favour and pick this up. It's a really good story, adventure, puzzle game, and it's probably the best looking thing on PSVR2 right now. It does look that good. There's one thing I would say is if you do have the ability to go and play the first one, a lot of people are saying you don't need to, but I would suggest you play the first one because the second one continues directly on from where the first one finishes. And there's a twist at the end of the first one, which they just sort of casually mention in the second one. If you can't do that, maybe go and find a quick playthrough, watch somebody's playthrough of it. It probably won't take that long if you watch a playthrough of somebody who knows what they're doing, who knows the solutions already. It's just really good. It's the res. This game shows you what the PSVR2 headset can do quality-wise beyond any other game on the system whatsoever. It just looks so clear. Even stuff in the distance. This is one of the first games I've played in so long where I've looked at something in the distance and haven't immediately thought, oh, that looks sort of blurry. I don't think I ever thought that once in this game. Okay, stuff in the distance isn't going to be as amazingly sharp as something really close up to you, but for once, the thought never came into my mind that something didn't look clear. The colours, the vibrancy, the OLED panel of that headset when it's running at 120 hertz as well. It's fun. It's amazing. I didn't notice. I'm not saying there's no persistence blur or anything, but I don't recall seeing any at all. There's a little bit of Miura here and there, but even then, I only sort of noticed it when I thought at one point, oh, can I see any Miura? Oh, yes, there is some, but it's a non-issue. It's one of the best looking things I've seen in VR in a long, long time. The haptics on it are absolutely fantastic as well. There's a point where you're in the train or the tram traveling along the tracks, and there's like these big sort of like structures, pillars, sort of support structures that you go past, and as you go past it, the entire thing rumbles. Your controls and the head just rumble as you go through it, and just the sense of the one thing I will mention, actually, slight diversion. I did actually end up getting some lens inserts, so I don't have to wear my glasses anymore. Oh, yeah. And that has allowed me to push the headset closer to me. So I think I'm getting the proper field of view of that headset now, as opposed to wearing glasses and keeping a distance so I'm not scratching the lenses. And I swear I've got an extra 10 degrees of field of view easily by using some lens inserts. Yeah. But I was in that train section, just watching everything sort of go by, and the sort of like that sort of field of view with the quality of the graphics and the rumble through the head and through the controllers as going past these supports. It was just that good that I immediately thought, oh, I can't feel it in my feet. I noticed what was missing because the rest of it was that good.
Yeah.
It was like, I need some sort of mat with maybe a butt kicker attached to a couple of corners, or, some sort of surface to stand on that rumbles at the same time, because it just, it's so good. Lee, am I crazy?
No. Right, Gary, it's time to ramp the FOMO up on you 100% because this is the best visually looking game I have ever seen in VR. It's so clear. I was like, am I putting the same headset on? Because, you could play like Call of the Mountain Climber, which he's gone on about, what's got like super bad reprojection and things, and you can see the Miura on. And when I put this on, because PD invited me around, so thanks PD for inviting me around to try it. He put me in the second level, so you're in the ship when you're just coming into land. And as soon as I put it on, I was kind of angry at how good it looked. Because I was like, well, it doesn't look like this on the PC. I've got a £1,500 PC and a £400 Pico, and it looks nothing like this. The shading, the lighting, the textures. I mean, when you're coming into land, it starts rumbling right on your forehead, so it's like the ship starts shaking. So that were really impressive. And when you come out and you can see like the little red ship that's landed, the detail on it, even from outside, it's got little dents on it and little bits all over it. The colours, it just totally blew me away. It was that good, and I didn't want to stop playing it. I was like, I'm going to stop here afternoon and play this, because I even came back and tried the PC VR version, and I didn't want to play it. I was like, no, I don't want to play this version. It looks so good, right? It's the clearest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
God. That's been RECENTERED episode 20.
It blew me. I couldn't get my head around to start off with. I'm like, is this the same headset? and 120 frames a second is so smooth. There's no reprojection. I was banging my arms around it. I just can't. I can't even say word to say how good this was.
Yeah, and I think.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say, this is the kind of reaction, before PSVR2 was launched, and you had a few impressions from sort of some outlets and stuff of the clarity and stuff like that with it. This was the kind of reaction I was expecting from sort of other titles as well. But the developers of this, I mean, they did an absolutely amazing job on the Quest anyway. So I expected that this was going to be something pretty special, especially when they put up that list of specs and features that the PSVR2 version is going to have. And I'm really pleased, honestly, I am. And when I get a PSVR2, I will play it. I don't know, one of the things I was surprised at, Rog, you played all the way through this again.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
I meant to go on it for like maybe 20, 30 minutes just so I could see how it compared. It just looked that good. It was like, I'm playing this again. It's ridiculously good. I was watching Mac in VR the other day. He put it on and started live streaming it. And for an hour and a half playing through this game, all you got out of it was, oh, wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. And that he did that for an hour and a half, basically. It's just, it is that impressive.
I mean, I think what it did for me as well, is show how good the PSVR2 really is and what it is capable of headset-wise and how things do look in it. It totally altered my perspective of it. I mean, I just thought, the OLEDs are okay and the colours, but the mirror's a bit annoying. But like I say about mirror, I was really concentrating to look for it, like in the red areas and things. And it's the faintest of... It just looks... I want all the games to be now 120 frames. I said this to you, didn't I, Rog? If all games are 120 FPS and look like this, everyone would be clamouring to buy a PSVR2.
I wonder what because presumably the super sampling this as well, beyond the native res.
There must be.
Yeah, I wonder what they're super sampling it to. But like I say, if they can optimise it, this is the thing, they've got to be like optimisation geniuses at that studio or something, based on what they've done in the past.
I know other people have pointed this out, but that team, that studio, is tiny. If you look at the credits, there's like a screen, there's like a single screen with 20 people on it, something like that, including the localization people. It's like there's barely anybody. It's a few people have worked on this, and they're absolutely blowing away what big studios are doing. I mean, when you look at it, Horizon or Resident Evil 8. I mean, graphics-wise, not talking about the visual quality, but the graphics. Yeah, you've got something else there. The problem is it's hidden behind reprojection and a lower rendering res than what this is doing. And it's like, well, it seems to be that, it's the PS5 that's holding back the headset because this clearly shows that the headset is capable of doing absolutely doing a stunning image. And, I mean, give me a PS5 Pro now, Sony, take my money.
I mean, I came back and kind of sneered at my Pico 4 when I walked in. I was like, how dare you disappoint me now?
There's surely stuff that those other developers could do, though, if they made just different decisions. I'm not saying that you could get Call of the Mountain running at 120 at this resolution or anything like that, but they've prioritised certain things over certain other things, and to me, it's what looks good on a social screen or something like that, rather than what looks good in the headset. Because if you share a video of 120 hertz game that's running at 60 FPS and you capture that and it's got all the post-processing, all the visual effects that Call of the Mountain has, it looks great on a YouTube video, but in the headset it doesn't look as good. It's probably the opposite from what is happening with Red Matter.
It looks way better in the headset than it does on flat videos.
It does. This is the first game I think I can genuinely say it looks better in the headset. For some bizarre reason as well, when you capture the video, even if you capture it directly on your PS5, the meta information says yes, this is a 60 FPS video, but it isn't. It's capturing it at 30 frames a second, and if you watch anybody's stream, you can see that as well. But it's like, who cares? Because in the headset, it looks amazing. It's like if you've got a PSVR 2 and you've not bought this game and you like adventure games with puzzle elements and a lot lots of puzzle elements, and with a bit of combat, which admittedly isn't great. It's okay. It's functional, but it does break up the sort of like the puzzle bits. I mean, if you want to support a developer who's obviously cares about what they're putting out, because they haven't just putted it over and called it a day. They've proper worked on this.
Yeah, I think they've done it from top to bottom.
Give Vertical Robot your money.
I mean, I'm a reflections guy, right? I love reflections on things. There's a part on this where you're walking and the lights are reflecting, and it's like deep into the ground, as like a normal reflection would look. Because it's kind of got like a Star Trek feel, right, Roger? And it's like you're watching a 4K Blu-ray. It's that clear.
But this game as well. It's just good sci-fi, I think.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that would make me want to play through it from start to finish again. Of course, I mean, if I get a PSVR2 and I start playing this, I'm sure I'll want to. But the thing is, there's certain games that really appeal to me, and it's like science fiction, space games and stuff. That's why I can actually... I was surprised that you would play through it again, but it does sort of make sense when I think about it, because just going back to that planet, like the planet surfaces and stuff, looking out into the distance and you see Neptune and stuff when you're on one of Neptune's moons, I think it is. I think I probably would play through this again.
It's just. Yeah, as soon as I started playing it, I felt more immersed in this game than anything else this year. Easily, it's like it's not even close.
How they've got it looking that good is beyond me. I mean, like a PS5 is like £500. Well, that's how much my graphics card cost on its own, and it looks 10 times better than what my. Admittedly, I'm using virtual desktop and I'm only using medium settings, but how that looks is it's crazy. I couldn't believe it when I first put the headset on. It's got to be
the OLEDs as well. I mean, because of the blacks and stuff, but the OLED screen must make a difference, because I'm watching a video now that you recorded, Rog, and there's a lot of sort of darker areas and stuff like that in there.
There are a lot of dark areas in this game, and so it really makes the OLED shine. It really does. The one thing what does annoy me about this game, it's the torch again, but it's for an entirely different reason. Your torch doesn't run out of batteries, but it only illuminates about a couple of meters in front of you, and it's like I sort of could understand it on the Quest. Maybe it's like a performance rendering problem there, but I wish they could have thrown that distance out a bit on this version. That's probably literally the only sort of moan and gripe I've got about it.
There we go. Is this your game of the year then, do you think?
It's my PSVR2 game of the year so far.
Yeah,
it set the bar though, right? Because now I want every game to look as good as this.
Yeah. This is a proper problem. You go back now to a reprojected game. Well, it might be a good thing, because if people are actually playing this, actually looking at this, and then going back to reprojected games, they might actually finally see, PSVR only gamers, they might really see what a game should be running like.
Yeah.
And it's like they've. Vertical Robot have used this in their sort of marketing as this is a 120 hertz native, 120 FPS game, no reprojection. They're telling people that, and I think people are wanting it now. It's
this will you'll be straight to bank if you tried this. I'm telling you.
I know. Well, just hearing you speak about it, it's making me. You mentioned that like the PS5 Pro earlier, Rog, because there are rumours, aren't there, that are going around at the minute. I don't know. At this point, the rumours are that it might be coming out next year if there is one. But
I don't. Yeah, this is it. If you end up waiting, you always end up waiting.
This is the problem. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. I picked up on the last generation. I got the PS4, then I got the PS4 Pro later, because it did make a difference on some games like Skyrim. It made a pretty big difference.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've had a PlayStation since PS1, and I've had every other one of them since. So I'd have bought it regardless of PSVR2. Yeah, a PS5, and if a PS5 Pro comes out, even if it didn't have VR for it, I'd be buying it anyway, because the sort of franchises I like are on that console.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer for me. But it's a bit of an ask if you're not really into that ecosystem. If you haven't got a library of games, then it's
Yeah. Well, PS4 was my first PlayStation. I did own, just for retro reasons, like the PlayStation, the original one, the first one. But but I have got quite a big library of games on the PS4 now, and it is good that if I pick up the PS5, that will all carry over. because, you know, it's not just me that will get use out of it. My son will as well, and, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I'm justifying the PS5 purchase.
But, yeah, anyway, I think we've probably talked about it long enough. But, yeah, that's Red Matter 2. It's literally setting the standard on any VR platform. You know, developers should be looking to this.
Yeah.
Right. Lastly, when it comes to games, it's Firmament. Again, we got a key for this. This is by Cyan Worlds. It's £29.50 on Steam, $35. PSVR2 version will follow later on this year at some point. And I won't be talking very much about this other than to say on my struggling old 1080 Ti, this ran like a dog. A three-legged one at that, and probably one that was already dead as well. So I really can't comment on the game. Other than I was pleasantly surprised to actually see there was an NPC character actually in world, rather than some FMV footage, which did shock me. I mean, I do want to play this and at least give it a go at some point, but on my PC, it's a non-starter. So how did you fare, Gary?
So for anybody that doesn't know, this is by Cyan, who made Myst back in the day. And I didn't play Myst when it first came out, but it was such a well-known game because you look at screenshots and stuff like that of it. It looks absolutely stunning at that time when it came out. When was it, like 92, 93, something like that maybe? And it was like one of the first CD-ROM games, and it was pretty... It was just this very... It was a very famous game, but a very obscure puzzler. Yeah. And this has the same... It's made by the same developers. They're going for the same thing. It was a Kickstarter, I believe. So I think they were trying to encourage people that were fans of Myst to support them on Kickstarter. And this game is very similar in terms of atmosphere and tone to Myst. So this is not a game for everybody. I think that's the first thing to say straight off the bat. Not everybody liked Myst. It got very mixed reception, really. As well known as it was very mixed. And I think this will be the same. Go on, yeah.
Well, this is a strange thing, because my recollection of Myst, at least among people I know who had like the PCs back in the day and a CD-ROM drive, it was never very well regarded. At least in the UK, that's my recollection of it. It was sort of thought of as this dry, boring, dull, very static game, because basically all the backdrops were just static, weren't there? And then you got little bits of FMV sort of characters overlaid every now and again. It
might be a case of hindsight being a bit more... I think it's looked back on fondly, perhaps. Maybe it's more that I'm thinking of.
Maybe it was appreciated more in the States. I don't know. But it does get held up as this sort of classic nowadays, which is
it does.
Really
but
bizarre.
But now it does seem to have like a relatively big fan base, at least. And I played the VR version of Myst as well. I played it because it came out on Quest. The problem is with this game, it's the tone and atmosphere of it, which is actually the thing that's pushing me away a little bit from it. It's just very solitary. And you mentioned that NPC at the beginning. I've not come across her again. She talks to you, but she's not there. She's like this little mist type thing that appears when she's just telling you a little bit of the history and the lore of the places where you are.
Right.
And this is the other thing about these types of games. It gives you so little context of what you're actually there for, why you were there, what you were supposed to do, and any kind of narrative. And it plays into that so heavily, because obviously what it wants you to do is be interested in enough to work out the lore behind this game, rather than work out perhaps a full story. And I'm sure that'll probably become a little bit more apparent later on. And I should just mention, I'm very early on. This is very much first impressions on this game.
Yeah.
But to me, at the start and the amount I've played so far, it's such an imposing puzzler. It's not just that the puzzles are difficult, which they're intended to be. It's intended to be this hardcore puzzler. It's the fact that you've got no context in terms of why you're doing this puzzle in the first place. We can get onto some of the other stuff as well. I mean, there's just some first impressions. Lee, you played a little bit of this as well. What did you think?
To echo really what you said, it didn't run so great on my PC, and I just want to point out, I think we're not alone in having trouble trying to get this to run. There's quite a few comments on Twitter of people struggling to stream it and it having lag spikes and things like that. I did try running it with DLSS because that's included in the game, and I did get some juttering and some stuttering. So I just put it back to everything to low. And I was having some issues, we spoke about it, Gary, right, with the fog and the mountains in the distance. It just made my eyes feel weird. So I don't know if it's not projecting right, or if they've got some layer cut not quite right on the VR. Excuse me. So that was a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, to me, it looks like something I've seen in other games. I mentioned Skyrim to you. If you've got certain mods or something like that, sometimes like the fog in the distance on the mountains, and it's exactly the same on this game, it will appear, it will just look odd. And if you close one eye or the other, you can see that it's rendering different things. And it's not right, you know. And I think people have mentioned the shadows. I think I noticed something on the shadows, but I honestly can't speak to that, but people have mentioned the shadows as well. And on performance, so I'm running on a 3080 on my machine, and it wasn't running in reprojection or anything, and when it was smooth, but it's got this issue where when you're wandering around the levels, you'll get these really sharp stutter spikes, and it can last for quite a few seconds, really. And Rog, I know we mentioned on this Discord before, because I don't know, do you listen to the Digital Foundry podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, so they've mentioned like this shader compilation issue that plagues.
It seems to be blighting the PC PC ports, doesn't it, at the moment?
Yeah, and I don't know. This crossed my mind, and I don't know if it's that or not, but it does behave very much like that. So I don't know if it's something to do with that, but it be and also I think if you've got a slightly lower downgraded card anyway, then it probably will be running in reprojection in spite of all these stutters as well. So performance probably needs looking at with this as well. It
was the first puzzle. I don't want to go to, trying to give too much away, but I kind of worked it out. Eventually I have to keep going up and down these stairs 1,000 times, and because I'd not got it set, you can set it to like automatically teleport you to the top. I was there trying to climb up these stairs and climb back down and climb up these stairs, and I was getting tired just doing that, so that was annoying me. And then I think it's just like you put like this glove thing in to move, and then it comes up with like a screen, doesn't it? You can move things right and left and up and down, and I thought, well, I don't understand. Is that what I've got to do, or I got into one part in a lift and went downstairs, and that looked quite impressive. I said that to Gary. It's like all golden, like a big golden centerpiece, and you've got a few rooms off to the side. And I had a quick look in these rooms, and that's as much as I played. So it was basically just like a first impression thing as well for me, but it didn't look that great in the headset because everything is on low, obviously. And I've heard other people with 4090s saying it looks glorious with everything maxed out, but unfortunately I can't run things on like that.
I will say I played more than that. I went to the two different areas and got a fair way through one of the puzzles, but the environments, they were a little bit funny. We mentioned some of the problems like with the fog and stuff, and I think the environments, when you first step out of this pod, when you get to St Andrew, I think it is, it looks pretty impressive. You've got mountains in the distance and foliage, and it's because you start off in quite a snowy area. So to go from that to that golden room and then to this bit more lush kind of environment, it was quite impressive, that was. But also at the same time, I think when I'm wandering around some aspects of this level as well, like the interiors and stuff, I don't know if it actually does look that good in places. There's certain aspects which I feel were just not given as much attention as certain other areas as well, maybe. But it's certainly not a bad looking game from my point of view, but it comes at a cost, and it seems, and that's performance at the moment. So hopefully they can optimize it a bit. I know there's been plenty of people that have been speaking about it, the VR version, to say that it maybe needs some optimization. Yeah. But then others seem to not have an issue with it. So
yeah, I know Mike from VR Oasis, he put a tweet out earlier on saying about the problems and saying maybe hold off on it until they've sorted these issues out. So.
And he's got a 4090 as well, hasn't he? I believe. So yeah, I mean. That's the thing. If it is that shader compilation thing, or that's causing these stutters, then I think it will affect pretty much any card anyway. So, yeah, it's difficult to really get fully behind it. And I said at the beginning as well, I think I can't. This is not a game for everybody, and I'm not sure it's a game for me. That's the thing. Yeah. And we were given a key to this, and we were given a guide and a full solution if we wanted it. I've not gone into that yet, of course, and I've put in just over an hour so far. But this is a hardcore puzzler, and that's the thing. You need to really enjoy diving in, going backwards and forwards through the same puzzle again and again to really work it out. And I think maybe, you know, the satisfaction of doing that, this is like the Dark Souls of puzzlers, maybe. The end satisfaction of doing it is worthwhile. I don't know. And it's a tough one for me, because I think, I don't know, I've always had a quiet respect for Cyan for some reason. I don't know why, but it's just feels a bit of a shame that I just don't think it's for me, this one.
Yeah, for any independent sort of developer publisher who's been going as long as they have, I mean, they've got to be doing something right. They've definitely got a fan base.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
If the PSVR2 version turns up, hopefully maybe we'll get to have a look at that. But I can't help feeling it's going to be running in reprojection. So,
it wouldn't surprise me. It probably would.
Yeah, I don't know if this type of puzzle thing's like for me either. My puzzle limit's probably another Fisherman's Tale. That's Game of the Year, Rog. And then when you get onto this, and
after Red Matter 2,
after Red Matter 2, yeah. But yeah, the first puzzle, I kind of like worked that one out, and then like I said to Gary, I've just got to use this controller thing to keep moving things up and down. I don't know. Perhaps I'll try and get into it a bit more. If they release a patch, maybe trying to improve some of the issues I've got, and then I'll give it another go to try and get a bit more into it.
I think it's just because, as well, as I mentioned, it gives you no context. No. And I knew it was going to be like this because Myst was like this as well, but it just doesn't give you enough context to get your teeth into like a story or a narrative to try and get you to pull you through these puzzles. That's part of the frustration that I've got with it. And it's designed to be like that. That's an actual choice that the developers have made, because certain people do like that obscurity with these types of games. So it's not really that it's a negative necessarily, it's just that it's definitely not for everybody.
I mean, I was like, am I missing something? Because as I was coming out the bunker bit at the start, there's like a hook on one of the things. I thought, have I got to hook onto that? Have I got to bring something up from down below? Do I need to send something else with me? I've just got to keep opening and closing these doors. And just that, not knowing what I'm doing and what's going off, I was, a little bemused at what to do. But once I got outside, I thought, well, this must be right. But I think one of them games, it's kind of that until you suddenly click and find the puzzle. And I should really like these things, because I'm a point and click old school adventure fan where it could take me hours just to find a clue. But with this, I was more annoyed. I said to Gary, going up and down them ladders all the while, I tried to just see if I could just jump off the cliff, because I just had enough doing that. But it's actually an invisible wall, so that blocked me. But
there is an option,
Gary tried to do the same.
There is an option where you don't have to climb the ladders. You can
you can just like teleport type of thing. Fast does it. Right. But I want to try and keep it. I like to try and climb the ladders and do things like that. But I didn't realise I'd have to go up 1,000 times because I kept moving that thing slightly wrong. So there's that to be wary of.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't play it for very long because obviously the performance was just too bad. But there didn't seem to be that much in the way of interaction with sort of the general stuff.
You couldn't pick anything up. I was trying
scenery.
To pick things up.
Yeah,
I mean, I had menu issues as well. Did you have the issues with the menu or the pointer, Gary?
It's got no pointer. Yeah,
well, it has on some parts, but when you point to the top, it disappears. I mean, it still highlights, but it's a very fine margin from where it highlights to where it goes off. So I was struggling to go back a page, and I'm thinking this can't be right straight away. I struggled with that quite a bit.
Thing is, I mean, I suppose some of these things are an easy fix, an easy patch and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the menus are a bit of a nightmare in it. It's I don't know. And it's just come out. The thing is, it's a flat game as well, and I think the interaction and stuff, that's a curse of it being a flat game as well. Honestly, I think there's certain things that you interact with which are just there that you're supposed to interact with. Everything else is static. You can't do anything else with it.
Yeah, it feels like, like you say, it did give the impression it was developed as a flat game first, and sort of, VR sort of like something they had in the back of their mind. But,
I mean, we know how hard it is for just any dev to get anything PC VR wise running. There's that many headsets, there's that many controller configurations, as we saw with Propagation, how many controller configurations you can flick through in the menus there that they try to set up. So I can understand from that point what a nightmare it must be to try and get all that sorted.
Yeah. But anyway, that's Firmament. Like I say, very much a first, impressions look at it, and it'll probably be quite a while before I actually get to play it. But also, I'll reserve judgment until later on in the year. Right.
Also, just before you carry on,
go on.
We do have while I remember, as I scroll back up, we do have a key to give away for ForeVR Pool, the PC Steam VR version that was kindly given to us by Game on Scorpio, who said, if you want to give this away on your podcast, please do. So thank you very much to him. And if the game, you do want the game anyway, it's currently 50% off on Steam till, I think, May 22nd. It's about £8. But I'm going to read the key out now, Gary. Are you ready?
I am ready. Yep, go ahead.
So this is the key. It is 884 Whiskey Kilo, Echo Victor 4, Hotel Lima, Lima Papa Bravo 77. And that will get you ForeVR Pool on the PC Steam VR version.
Excellent.
Thank you to Game on Scorpio.
Yes, thanks, dude.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Okie dokie. News from the past couple of weeks. We've not got that much to talk about, really. What we thought might be interesting anyway. But PlayStation's showcase. This is next Wednesday on the 24th of May. 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. over here in Blighty. An hour-long showcase focusing apparently on PS5 and PSVR2 games. Right. Are we going to get some proper PSVR2 game announcements at the showcase, do we think?
Of course we are. Come on now.
I don't know. I saw that leaked thing on Twitter earlier on, and I thought, this can't be real, surely.
There's been, I just don't believe anything like that. There's been leaked stuff in the past like that was turned out to be totally...
it has.
Totally wrong.
People on Reddit were talking about the slightly angled screen is a big giveaway that it's fake.
Yeah.
But it was because they had Astro's Conquest on
which
there,
everybody keeps asking about, like Astrobot and stuff, and Half-Life Alyx as well. I was like,
Half-Life Alyx, yeah.
Do either of you think Half-Life Alyx will ever come to the PSVR 2? Because I'm just doubting it at this point.
Yeah, you put something on there, didn't you, Lee? Earlier on Discord, you were saying that when you saw that, you thought it's probably fake. And I don't know. I still think it's possible. I think it could be coming, but I don't know. It could go either way. I'm sort of 50-50 on it. I'm still 50-50, and because I don't see any reason why Valve wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Because I don't know. Maybe they do. They want to keep its PC.
But they're still selling indexes, and it's still their only showcase that they've got.
Yeah.
For that headset, they were originally allegedly going to be doing 3 games, and all we got was Alyx. But
who's buying indexes now? Is anybody still buying an index?
It's bizarre. You still read forums sometimes, and people are like, "Oh, I'm saving up for an index," or I wish I had an index. And it's like, really, at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, the base stations maybe for the big screen, but I mean, even they've gone up to like £400 now. I've read somewhere that the prices for them are going up because people are trying to buy them for the big screen. So,
just a slight tangent there. We mentioned the big screen. Did either of you watch the Peter Diamandis podcast with or interview with Palmer Luckey at all?
Which through little bits of it,
Yeah, that's right. Same here. Yeah, I didn't see it all because he was going on sort of going between VR and then going to his other sort of company as well.
But the thing in there he mentioned of about the Apple headset, which apparently the rest of the internet has finally caught up with.
We reported on that weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, Kent By's got to be annoyed because he's the one who interviewed him, and he spoke about it weeks ago.
Oh dear. But anyway, this is from about a month ago, this interview, and it's not something I've seen before. But what Palmer mentions is that the Apple headset will be using basically the next generation screen after the ones that are in the big screen beyond. So
it's the same company that's made them, right?
It is, yeah.
But they're supposed to be 4,000 by 4,000 per eye, aren't they? Apple,
Yeah, so that could be interesting.
But I did kind of the one thing what he did say. Sorry, Rog. One about the Apple headset, the one about will people buy it and this that, and he said, well, all the technology's here now. I mean, it's not engineering that'll sell headsets; it's marketing.
It's marketing, yeah.
And I thought if anyone can market something, it's Apple.
Yeah. But the obvious takeaway from this, and the one thing I want more than anything else now, is my £600 Direwolf with full body armour, please. So I don't know when that'll happen. But anyway, it's just a slight tangent. Yeah. But if anybody who's wanting to listen to that, If you search for Peter Diamandis on YouTube, and the actual podcast, or the name of it is, I'm looking now, I can't remember. It's How the Founder of Oculus Plans to Save America. That's the name of the interview.
I'll try to remember to put links into the description as well for that.
And then there's a follow-up Q&A after as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just so enthusiastic about everything he talks about.
He comes across well. I've not seen him in much things, really. And
Is another
really
Carmack in that?
Yeah.
There's another Carmack in that could just listen to him for hours on end. And you sort of listen to him, you think, that just makes sense.
I mean, if somebody offered me $1 billion for my company, and you just went, nah, you're right. No, I don't think I could do that, personally, but there you go.
I don't.
But he did well out of it in the end, and it was the enthusiasm that, because he wanted to sell it to Facebook, because they guaranteed for the next 10 years they want to keep pumping $1 billion in, something like that, Rog, right? And
that was the reason.
Go and watch it, yeah.
That was the reason other companies wanted it as like a sort of a curious sort of side project type thing.
He didn't name them, but did you get the impression that he was talking about Sony or?
I thought either Sony or Microsoft. That's what I thought.
Either Sony or Microsoft. Only because he said something else, and I can't remember what it was now. About something
console or gaming, or he said something. Yes,
console. He mentioned console after you spoke about that, but he didn't say. But anyway, that is a tangent.
But anyway, that's next Wednesday on the 24th. So hopefully we get some good news. I'm personally hoping for Astrobot and Wipeout, but we will see. Talking of showcases, we mentioned this last time as well, but the Metagaming Showcase is on Thursday, the 1st of June. But we were just going to skip over this, but earlier on today, on the Rendered Reality Discord, one of the regulars on there called Shocks, he noticed something a bit bizarre on the Quest Store, in that if you go to any title on the Quest Store, under the platform it's available on, as in, Quest or Quest 2, it also, at least in the US, now lists New Quest as a compatible device for games.
It does over here as well now. I just checked earlier on the mobile app.
Does it actually say New Quest?
It does, yeah.
Right, okay. Because when I went on I just went on a browser on my PC, and on there it lists it as unknown device, as an extra thing. Oh, right, okay. So this seems like there's something in place there for for a possible announcement, maybe, possibly.
I don't know if they'll announce it there, because they do like to announce them at the Connect thing, don't they? I don't know if they'll say, and also coming up on our future headset, Quest 3, maybe they'll say something like that.
It just seems, this seems something a bit early if they're going to leave it for Meta Connect later in the year. It's, I don't know.
The other thing, because you could have, if they wanted to go into this kind of cadence where they have this gaming event, then they have the Meta Connect, which is a bit more serious, more focused on the metaverse kind of stuff. This gaming event could be to push a more gaming focused headset like the Quest 3. I know it's more gaming focused. I know they're still trying to do a lot of different stuff with that headset as well, but
maybe leave the main.
Maybe leave the Meta Connect for the announcement of future Quest Pros whenever they appear or something. I don't know.
Maybe separate it into sort of gaming and then business.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to just walk around with one on the face straight away and say, "Look what we've got," and you can pre-order now. That'd be kind of cool.
It would.
Come bundled with Grand Theft San Andreas.
Yeah. And Asgard's Wrath and Lone Echo and Assassin's Creed and everything else we've ever mentioned in the past. And
Splinter Cell wasn't really cancelled.
Yeah.
I think there'll be some decent gaming announcements. I'm sure we've said this before. They've got to go big. And I think they'll hopefully prove me wrong and put something really cool out there.
We will see. Not long to wait anyway.
No.
What's next? Okie dokie, yeah. Samsung's continuing and rising interest in XR, it says on the notes. Do you want to go for this one, Gary? You put this one down there.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention it just because to me, so there's a few news stories here. The one recent has been that Samsung has acquired eMagin, who make OLED micro displays, and I think most of us have probably heard the name because Brad Lynch, sadly it's Bradley, talks about them all the time.
Yeah.
And they are notable because they've developed a technology I can't remember the actual acronym of the technology now, but it basically allows these displays to have much higher brightness and efficiency than any of the other micro OLED manufacturers. So there's that news story that Samsung have acquired them, but also back in February, I don't know if we mentioned this on the podcast or not, but it was announced that Samsung were partnering with Google and Qualcomm to produce XR-related headsets, or hardware at least. So this all points to the fact that it seems like Samsung are about ready to re-enter the hardware market for VR or XR, because, of course, they've done stuff in the past with VR as well. But we've not seen anything from them for a long time, really. And so it just looks like they're gearing up to do something. So I thought this was pretty interesting. These two stories combined seem to point to the fact that it looks like another big tech company is going to be entering the market, which is always going to be a good thing. And the fact that they've acquired this eMagin, which focusing on these kinds of displays and seem to be one of the best manufacturers for these types of displays, then it's encouraging as well. And the thing is, I was looking into eMagin a little bit, and actually I think I was watching one of Brad's previous videos as well, and he was talking about how they're actually a very small company. They're not a big company at all. They haven't got really the resources to go into this kind of field on their own. They create stuff for the military in very small volumes. So the fact that Samsung are picking them up, and Samsung have got a long history of making displays. They've got, ridiculous amounts of resources for displays and stuff. So the fact that they've picked these up and they're going to be pushing it forward is all good stuff. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what actually comes out of it, I suppose.
I'd definitely go and recommend watch Salabit Brad's latest video. It goes into more detail about the OLEDs. I was quite, it goes into detail about the RGB being on top of the OLED, and it reduces like 80% light before you even get to the optics going into it. Yeah. But these have managed to put it like in the middle, and you can also stack them as well, so you can get like ridiculous nit brightness before they even start.
Apparently, you can sort of basically double your brightness, can't you, by using a dual stack? But also apparently that increases the reliability as well of the actual panel somehow by 4 times. So.
Yeah, I kind of read that in between the lines, same as you, Gary. I'm like, I'm hoping Samsung's got something lined up now in the little VR market.
You never know. They did some, what was it? The Odyssey, wasn't it? The Odyssey and Odyssey Plus. They were both good headsets. I had Odyssey for a bit. I personally didn't get on with it, but it was...
No, I didn't. I had one for all of a couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, but a lot of people really raved about them, and they were good headsets. There wasn't... I didn't have a major issue with it or anything like that, but it just didn't click with me compared to some of the other stuff that I had at that time. So... But yeah, they've always had this sort of slight interest in. When I say slight interest, they've always had this interest in VR enough to make VR headsets under that Windows mixed reality kind of banner. Yeah. But now, if they can produce something on their own with this kind of technology, then it will be interesting. I think because Samsung are a good company, and if they enter into this market, I think they'll have a big impact.
The only problem I've got is like, I like the idea that somebody else might be producing headsets, the more competition, the better, etc. But it's like, do I really want to buy into another ecosystem?
Yeah, it depends how that goes, doesn't it? I suppose.
It would have to be something impressive. I don't mind doing that, but it would really have to offer something else. Over a Quest 3, for example.
This is why we're screwed, really. It's like Quest. I'm invested in the Quest ecosystem now. Like, I've picked up all of these games, got all of this library. It's part of the reason why I've not picked up a Pico. It's one of the reasons, honestly, it is one of the reasons. And it's one of the reasons why I might not pick up another headset. When you've invested in an ecosystem and that library carries over to future products, it's all backwards compatible, then it makes it, I tell you can be really locked in. And that's what Apple famous for as well, so it's probably what they'll do on their headset. But
don't Samsung provide the OLEDs for the iPhones for Apple? I could be wrong, so apologies if I've not got that right, but I'm sure I've read that they actually provide the OLEDs for Apple phones as well.
It's I don't know that for a fact, but there's only a few like big manufacturers. You've got LG, you've got a Samsung. They seem to provide 90% of the displays for across the world to all these other companies. It seems to me. So, but I think Sony make displays as well, though, don't they? They make their own displays. So
I don't know. I know my my Sony OLED TV is the screen's LG. So
yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
But yeah, it's another. We will wait and we will see what happens in that regard. So
I think the past few weeks has really ramped my, because of all these gaming showcases and the Apple thing, what's coming up, all these things, what's coming up. I want to talk about as well. But it's really ramping my interest and hype up for some great announcements. I'm just hoping.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll mention this on Discord, it's like, okay, there's probably no way we're going to be able to afford the Apple headset, but I'm still excited to see what it's going to be like and what it brings to the table, because, if that's pushing the technology forward somewhere, that'll eventually filter down into products we can afford. So
yeah, there's been so many news stories. It's so weird with Apple when you get, the problem is they're so secretive, and all we get is rumours and stuff like this that comes out, and we get these reports. Just I think yesterday or today there was another report saying that they told the only reason the Apple engineers managed to get the Apple headset through is because they told Tim Cook that then AR glasses are only a few years after, and that's not going to happen. And that's how they managed to get it through. Then you hear these other stories about it's a compromised headset, and the top execs from Apple are skeptical about it, and you just wonder what's going to go on, because the biggest thing, and I've mentioned this before, like if Apple enter the market and then remove themselves from the market, that's going to do so much harm, because Apple are a leader, and if other companies see them retreating from VR or XR, it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, we will see, like everything else. But yeah, it should be an interesting couple of weeks coming up anyway, with these showcases and everything else.
Yeah.
But anyway, on to some upcoming games. So Quest 2, 25th of May, for £19 or $25, we've got Everslaught Invasion, which is I presume is an arena battler. I don't know that much about it. There was Everslaught on the PC, was it on the PC?
Something, it rings up. I'm sure I've got this on the PC, and I think that I messaged on one of the forums that it's so fast paced, because it's like Doom type thing, isn't it? It's super quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting quite motion sick with it. So I messaged, but is there any way to try and slow this down a little bit? And I think the dev actually replied to me and told me I need to spend some more time in VR to get my VR legs and that. So that was quite amusing. He dissed me.
Basically, he said, get good.
Yeah. He said that's how the game's supposed to be played. So I was like, oh, right, okay, fair enough then. And to gradually build my time up in VR. So I was like,
okay.
It's like that when the other bloke told me to ask me if it was my first VR headset. So it's kind of one of those.
But yeah, that's out on the 25th.
I may or may not have access to that. I can't either confirm or deny, and I'll be able to talk about it next time.
Okie dokie. Also coming up on 25th of May again, we've got Hello Neighbour Search and Rescue, Quest 2 for £23, 10% off if you pre-order, but Quest 2 game, just wait and then you get a 25% referral. It's also on PC on Steam VR with a price to be confirmed. And it was supposed to be coming out on PSVR2, but I don't know what's happened, because I was listening to AJ on PSVR Underground earlier, and he mentioned on there that PSVR2 version has suddenly disappeared from the PlayStation Store, and I had a look, and it had. So I don't know what's happening there. Maybe they've sort of removed it, and it's going to be announced at the PlayStation Showcase. No idea. But yeah, this is like a VR version of, I think there's a couple of Hello Neighbour games, isn't there, on Steam? On
my daughter's big into these games as well on the Xbox.
Right, I've never played any of them. Either of you two?
No, I've not either. Don't know a lot about it.
I've seen her bits. You're going into the house to try and retrieve certain items, and you've got to basically escape. Try and keep out of the way of the neighbour to get all the bits from the games. I mean, I've not really described it very well, I know, but I've only caught glimpses of it while she's been playing it.
From the trailer, it looks quite good, really. Yeah. I mean, I'd be interested in this. It looks like you can flip characters as well. You play a group of kids and you can flip characters so you're all over the house and stuff.
Right.
It could be cool in VR, I could see the appeal for it in VR.
Yeah.
I mean, stealth stuff in VR can be quite cool. What else we got? Oh, Operation Wolf Returns first mission VR. Well, here's a blast from the past. This is coming to PSVR2, Quest 2, Pico 4 on 22nd of June. No price yet, I don't think. So basically, this is a modern remake of the 1987 Taito arcade game, which I'm pretty sure we've probably all played back in the day.
Wasn't this out on the Amiga as well? Do I dare mention Amiga, or do you want me just to not mention that?
This was on absolutely everything. Although I did actually watch a history of video of this, and sort of like begrudgingly, the Amstrad version might have been better.
Yeah, I played it on my Amstrad.
I think I did have on Amstrad as well, Gary. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got it. I'm just looking for the tape. I've got it next to me here. The Amstrad version, absolutely superb.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, we've already had sort of a Operation Wolf type game in. Come on, tell me what it was
Operation
now.
Warcade?
Ivanovich Games.
Yep, we were
Operation
Wolf.
The reason I know is because we were talking about it before you come on, right? And Gary told me the name of it. So that's the reason I know it.
So yeah, that was the first Ivanovich game, wasn't it? I think.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
It was okay. It was a bit rough, but yeah, it was basically
it's the closest to Operation Wolf. I liked it. I was speaking to Gary. You start off, you stood outside the arcade and you're shooting as if you're playing Operation Wolf, and then it'll zoom, sort of not teleport, but you sort of go inside the game, and then you're all surrounded by it when you're driving a Jeep and you have to shoot people, and then it pulls you back out to where you stood at the front of the arcade. There's a demo. I think I played the demo on Pico 4. I was really impressed. I thought it was really good fun.
Yeah, I liked it too. I think they got better as they went on though with it. Just not in terms of the games, but just in terms of polish. I think Operation Warcade was really good, but maybe had a little bit buggy here. And
there. Each subsequent game's got definitely they're getting to know how VR works. with each game. The bizarre thing is with this one is everybody was going on about this last week, and it's the first time I think I'd heard of it. Then when I went to have a look for a bit more information, I found out this was actually announced last September, and nobody noticed. It was literally announced for Quest last September, and I don't think anybody picked it up.
No, it's the first time I looked when I saw it on the Discord, on our notes, and I'd looked and seen it was like a remake.
Yeah. Maybe nobody's following the Microids Twitter account, which, that's a blast from the past as well. Microids, they've been going for a long time. I didn't even know they were still around, but I'm sort of looking forward to that one. Nice bit of retro goodness.
It'll work well with the controllers as well. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. In other bizarre news, it's like, why wasn't this on the store before? But the original version of Windlands is now on the official Quest store for £11 or $15. I mean, that's taken its time. Windlands 2's been out on the official store since it launched. I don't know why this has been stuck. Was it stuck on App Lab?
Yeah, it's been on App Lab. I picked it up on App Lab ages ago. But they just couldn't get it on the official store, it seemed, and now they have. It's
so weird that some of the decisions that Meta make with what can be on the official store. It's very bizarre.
I don't know if it's like for comfort issues, but they have some pretty. It can't be that, can it? Because they have so much stuff that's intense comfort rating and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know why. I don't know why that wasn't on, because it runs so good on the Quest. It looks great. Like Windlands 2, really. Good game.
Yeah. Sales wise, the Bethesda VR collection is on sale at Fanatical for £23, which basically gets you Skyrim, Fallout 4, Doom VFR, and Wolfenstein Cyberpilot. If you're missing a couple of those games, then pretty good deal, really. If you need 3 or even all 4 of them, it's an absolute bargain. £5 to £6 a game. It's like you can't complain. Skyrim, it's showing its age, and you've probably played it, but it's still a good experience in VR. The interface, yes, is bad, shall we say?
Yeah.
But some of the experiences of going down to some of those dungeons and seeing some of the stuff, or in the landscapes, from the top of a mountain or whatever. I'd say even the unmodded version, I never bothered modding it, and I still thought it were great.
Yeah, it is.
Some of the mods. Sorry, go on.
if you mod it, you can get some really good stuff. I mean, there's so many different kinds of mods, and it all helps as well with the VR interaction. There's loads of stuff you can get. So there's mods. I mean, well, there's too many to mention, but there's just for an example, you've got these mods where you can actually interact properly with just general objects, pick them up and move them with your weapon. If you get your sword out, you can actually knock things off tables and stuff. You've got all these visual mods, first of all, as well, which bring it looking absolutely stunning in VR. So yeah, there's Skyrim's one of my favourite VR games. It's still to this day.
I've only played as much as I did on video because I got it working with my 960 and I just put a video out, and I got as far as like the first town, so maybe off like the very first part of the game, and that's as far as I've ever got. I've never played any more since. So I've never played Fallout 4 either. So yeah,
one of the first dungeons that even directs you to has got, should we say, a creature in it that I want to hear one of your manly shrieks.
Oh, was it the giant spider things?
Yes.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, that's probably why I've not played it since, because I didn't like the spiders in it. But yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. I'd put a couple of videos out this week. I'm not like self-promoting or anything like that, but yeah, I did the Kill It With Fire that we mentioned in the podcast about.
I saw that. Yeah.
And so you can see my genuine fear of spiders is true.
Is that you might have sent me? I might have used that in one of the other podcasts, clip of it or something in one.
No, I think it was just the trailer for it. I sent you.
Okay.
It wasn't any voice because I'd not actually like edited it or done anything, but I managed to get that out this week. Is people seem to be enjoying it, so enjoying my pain and suffering.
Yeah.
You need to get back. You need to get on that game, Watch. It's so cool.
Yeah, I probably should. I'll get around to it at some point. There's been plenty to play though.
We've been busy
these past couple of weeks. Yeah.
Everything's fading into obscurity now. We've got Red Matter 2. That's the problem. Nothing's going to live up to anything now.
Well, I'm with Watch on that. I'm afraid. Yeah. I'm struggling. I come back, tried the PC VR version. I was like,
It's genuinely set the bar. It really
for any
has.
VR. I don't just think
for overall
PlayStation VR, but I think any VR headset. Yeah. I've not tried the Varia or anything like that, so I can't give an opinion of what that looks like. But it's just,
I keep getting emails saying, "Do you want 300 quid off a Varia?"
Varia
headset. Oh dear me. It's almost as bad. It's almost as bad as the adverts I keep getting for immersed robot mugs. It's like they will not stop.
That's
honestly, it's like every day. Yeah,
I got them from Rendered Reality. I picked up a Rendered Reality mug, and then I got a load of emails about all this other stuff that Rendered Reality have got. I've got my mug. I've done my bit.
But you haven't bought a T-shirt. Do it now.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. I think the last thing we've got on here is something noticed earlier today, which is Before Your Eyes on PSVR2, and this is the sort of like narrative eye-tracked driven game. It's only 12 quid normally, but I don't know if you know about the PlayStation Stars program, what started a while back now. Basically, it's like I suppose it's like a supermarket loyalty point type thing for PlayStation. If you opt into it on the PlayStation app, when you buy stuff, you get points, basically, and you can spend them on. Sometimes they'll have games on there where you can, if you've got enough points, you can get a free game, or you can, I think it's for 1,250 points, you can have a £5 voucher added to your wallet, or for 5,000 points, it works out the same amount of money. You can have a £20 voucher added to your wallet. But one of the games I've got on at the moment is Before Your Eyes, which is on there for 3,750 points. So if you've got some PlayStation Stars loyalty points, you can get yourself a free copy of that, basically. However, those 3,750 points will instead buy you 15 quid's worth of credit, and the game's only 12 quid anyway, so you could actually just use that same amount of points, get 15 quid in credit, buy the game then for 12 quid, and you still got 3 quid left over to put towards something.
Put it towards Red Matter 2.
But absolutely. So
smart thinking.
So I'll probably end up picking that up now, since I've got about 4,000 points on there what I've not spent.
Is this the one I mentioned to you, Rod? The one where you blink to go through the story?
That's the one. Yeah.
I caught the end of Dr. Oculus' stream and I thought it looked quite cool, so I messaged you about it.
Yeah, it was one of those what sort of on my list of I'll pick it up when I've got an afternoon to go through something. So I don't think it's supposed to be a very long game. but I wasn't going to rush out and buy it. But since I've got the points there for, anyway, it's, free game. That'll do me.
Yeah.
And I think, unless anybody's got anything else they want to talk about, I think that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're about done.
Excellent.
We've rattled through that. There was a lot of stuff there, actually.
Yeah, not that much. I think it's mainly the games, wasn't it, this week? There's been a fair few games to play. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for listening. It's always appreciated. But if you want to like, subscribe, leave a review, leave a comment in the YouTube video, ask us a question, please feel free to do so. But until next time, cheers everyone.
See you next time.
Take care. And also, don't forget to get Roger's Game of the Week, which is another Fisherman's Tale.
Yeah.